I've been in the civil service for 15 years now, and I'm just wondering what the difference will be between the career average salary benefits that will be coming in and the final salary that we've got at the moment.
I think there's a lot of confusion about what the changes in the pension mean at the moment. What do they mean?
Pensions are really quite complex, but the way in which the scheme works at the moment is that your pension is based on your final salary, so taking account of your salary at or near retirement. The way the scheme will work in the future is to average out what you've earned over your working life in the scheme. So to take account of each year you've been in the scheme and what you've earned in each of those years and average that out. So that's why the new scheme is called a career average scheme. The current scheme is a final salary scheme, taking account of what you earn at the point you retire.
Can you tell me when the changes will take place?
We expect these changes to come in around about 2015. Clearly they're still subject to negotiation, and it's important that time is taken to get these changes right, but 2015 is when we expect these changes to come into effect.
But will there be any advantages to people with the new scheme?
Because these changes are based on your career average, so it takes account of what you've earned in each year you're in the scheme and average those out over your career, rather than being based on your final salary, when actually your earnings might be rather less than when you're at the peak of your career. Then for people on lower earnings, people who've worked part-time, people who work part-time towards the end of their career in particular, are likely to be better off under these reforms. If you're a high flyer though, then your pension won't be based on your final salary, it will be based on an average of your salary over your career, so that means that you may have a slightly lower pension.
What will happen to the amount of contributions that I've paid so far?
No, the pension you've already got and you've built up is there for you and protected, and Lord Hutton was very clear about that. So these changes only affect the pension that you'll build up after the date these changes come into effect, which we expect to be around about 2015.
And what will happen to my pension after that time?
After the reforms come in, then the pension you've already built up will be based on your final salary at the point you retire, and then after 2015 your pension will be worked out taking account of the pension you earn in that year and averaged over your career. So that's why it's called a career average scheme.
I think there's a lot of confusion about retirement age. Is it possible to still retire at 60? It feels like my retirement age is going on and on and on. When can I retire?
How are any changes going to affect the retirement age at which I can take my pension?
Well, as we all live longer, then that means that we have to spend more time in work in order to be able to pay for the fact that we are going to live longer and be in retirement for longer. So scheme pension ages are likely to increase, as they have in all parts of the economy, as they have in the private sector.
Can I opt out of my pension if I don't want to pay the increase in contributions?
Well, clearly that's a decision that only you can make. Only you can decide whether you stay in the scheme or not. But we do have to face facts, and those facts are that we're all living longer, and that means we're going to spend more time in retirement. And so we have to make sure that we can save for retirement and that we're going to be comfortable in old age. So only you can decide whether you stay in the scheme or not. But if you do leave the scheme, of course, you have to remember that you'll lose the contributions that your employer is putting into the scheme, which are really quite significant.
If the time that I retire, the age at which I retire, changes significantly as a result of the changes, would I be better off opting out of the new pension scheme in 2015 and looking for alternative means of investment to meet the pension that I was expecting to get at the age at which I hope to retire?
If you were to take out a private pension, then you would have to put in contributions for yourself, but you would also have to make up the contributions that your employer is currently putting into your pension scheme. You would have to pay those in too, and they're really quite significant. So you'd have to pay probably rather a lot more into a private pension that you're paying into your scheme at the moment.
When I look through the pension issues, obviously we're going to be paying more for less and working a lot longer. Is that the case? Because I think many people out there just don't understand that.
Will I have to work longer for the same or less valuable pension?
How these changes affect you will depend on your circumstances, and how much you get will depend on how long you've been in the scheme, but it will also depend on how your career progresses throughout your working life. So some people will get more out of these changes and some people will get less. The impact will depend on individuals and individual circumstances.